Hello, good morning, and welcome to our second episode of our podcast, Let's Get Real to Heal. I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today. What to expect from this episode? I would say it's going to be all about your structure, your body structure. It's about reflexology, massage, and the link it has when it is done holistically in terms of release on an energy level and on an emotional level. I'm excited to introduce you today to Chandrika, and the reality is I have been working with Chandrika for the last couple of years. At PhiloLife Wellbeing Education Center, we have a collaboration with Dubai Homeopathy Health Center founded by Dr. Javed Hingora. And under the STEPS program, Dr. Javed has created a whole program about how to tackle physical health issues or even emotional distress with a whole approach to health, combining life coaching and PhiloLife therapies with homeopathy, reflexology, and we call it holistic reflexology. Today I will discuss why. And I would say on a personal level, I have seen how Chandrika had helped me shift my anxiety in 2018, as I disclosed in the previous episode. And I'm really looking forward to sharing with you about the experience and about the fact that this is one of the modalities that can shift you on a body, physical and energetical, mental as well, mental level. So it's a combination. Let me introduce you to Chandrika. Chandrika is a massage therapist, is licensed by DHA, by the Ministry of Health. She's also certified in Dawn therapy, in reflexology, in marma therapy. I'm looking at the complicated words at the moment. She had studied a lot about anatomy, physiology, and pathology. She is passionate about the relationship, the mind-body connection, and how to release on an emotional level through the body and through the points. So, Chandrika, I would like to start by, first of all, welcoming you on board.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you because it's a journey and you've been also seeing me evolving throughout the years. And I really want to take this opportunity, first of all, to tell you that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the support you've given me on a personal level, and professionally, you have been an amazing therapist. Your dedication, your passion for what you do has always been an inspiration.
Thank you very much.
So, delving into the topic, I would like to ask you, when did your interest in the holistic therapy started and how did it start?
So myself, I've at the age of 15, I was suffering from backaches, vomit, nausea, vertigo, would you believe it? And it became so bad. I was losing maybe about 3 days each month through sickness.
Wow.
And it was actually affecting the quality of my life. I was on painkillers. And I just decided when I got married, it still carried on. And at that point, I thought I was a working parent as well. And I just wanted to improve the quality of my life. So I started doing a iTech anatomy and physiology massage course. And this is where my interest started from, because I just wanted to get out of that pain loop and do something positive for myself.
Wow, amazing. So it started really from a personal experience.
It did, yes.
And how did it help you shift at that time?
At that time, it gave me motivation that I was doing something for myself. It actually took me back into my body. It wasn't until I started doing Reiki. Personally, I went through a divorce as well. And I believe working on myself, I've actually got myself to this level where the interest grew in holistic therapy.
Amazing.
So it's actually a journey. If you say why and how this is actually materializing, we carry a lot of emotions in our body, and not many people are actually aware of that. If we at the clinic are adopting a know, heal and evolve perspective. So if you know your body, you can evolve, you understand it better. Having that evolvement around that body helps you also get to that perspective of healing.
Agree. That's really well said and beautifully said. The question is, like, when you said you've been through a divorce and you've been trying to learn more about that approach, have you been trying it? Like, somebody was doing those massage and reflexology on you? Did you benefit from somebody practicing, or how did it happen?
So I don't personally go to a massage therapist or a reflexologist. Everything that I'm actually doing is doing a lot of this stuff through learning, its experience, knowing the theory behind everything, and then actually becoming intuitive. We've got our five senses, and I believe that everybody has a sixth sense where you can actually go back into yourself, and the sixth sense is the feeling. The feeling brings in intuition. It's something that you can't teach anybody, but once you start working in yourself, coming back into your body, coming back into your wellness, you do start feeling. It's a completely different ball game where it's not blaming somebody. You're actually taking accountability for yourself. Most of the things that you're actually doing, most people are taking criticism at a personal level. But if they shift their mindset and understand that that criticism is a positive and take it as a positive feedback, you can actually start looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah, I agree. And at the same time, I would say that focusing on what you do as in reflexology and all, you are able to read the body through using your intuition and, of course, using the science you've learned. But I had experiences with you when you would just be touching my toes and reading my body and discovering that I have a jaw pain that I wasn't even aware that existed till the moment you brought it to my awareness. And that goes back to one, as you say, we all have this natural ability to connect and check in, but we're living in a hectic world where we are unable to scan our body and understand what are the messages being given. So this is where the surprise comes when you mention a certain pain. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I've been feeling that jaw pain. That's one side of it. And second, how are you able to know through the toes?
So the head is always going to give you, because we're not balanced and we're not in tune within ourselves, the nervous system is actually going in a loop. And when I say a loop, it's overactive. So the whole idea of these therapies is to bring you back into homeostasis, which is a balance. Mm-hmm. Through feeling, there's a loop that goes on, recurring through stress. So if you imagine oxygen as a commodity for your body, naturally the automated systems, which is the breathing and the digestion, has to continue even throughout a stress loop. But when we get stressed, the body is actually shifting because the oxygen is then being taken out of the natural functions, but we don't realize that. If you imagine there's a building, you can visually see that building and it's got a leak. We're going to go and fix it because it's got a leak. The body in itself, we are not in tune with it. We're not feeling, but it is actually talking to us. So most of us are disconnected because we've said, okay, I'm too busy with my kids. I'm too busy with work. I'm too busy with this. How many of us have actually sat down and said, my health is important? The body is an asset. When you get to maybe your 40s and 50s, it's depreciated over time. So this is when the head is on overdrive and you start feeling the aches and pains. By that time, you've kind of got the enjoyment in the sense of you've been working towards accumulating money, wealth, but you've actually neglected your health over a period of time.
Agree. And this is where I think Let's Get Real to Heal comes as an invitation to be real about what you're feeling and what you're going through, and to appreciate that the body has the ability to tell you, but you need to listen as well. So I would say that many people have tried reflexology, and even when I refer clients to you, at some point they would tell me, we've tried reflexology here and there or while traveling, but how do you do it differently? And why do we call it, as in the STEPS program, a holistic reflexology?
So the holistic reflexology has come about because you talk about a builder carries different tools when they go on site. In the same way as a therapist, I guess I would say I have a toolbox. So it's not just one modality that I'm utilizing when I'm doing the therapy. Initially, at the consultation phase, reflexology is used as an assessment tool for the body. We won't go through the head because the head can give you mixed signals. But the feet in itself, each point is going through an organ, which allows me to assess which part of the body is actually out of alignment. Mm-hmm. Then various therapies come in to actually release the blockages. Amazing. So it was interesting when you touched upon the fact that on that level, we're also dealing with emotions. So in the reflexology actually helps us to relax the body. The Reiki in itself is utilized to bring about a sort of emotional balance. I've had clients where they're not been comfortable in disclosing their personal emotions, but they've actually had a natural breakdown throughout the therapy. They've been crying, letting out their emotions. But I wouldn't say that's magic, but they're not even forced to do that. It's automatic how the body heals itself, and these emotions come out during therapy. And it's also a safe space to actually let these emotions out. I'll give you a personal example. While I was going through my divorce, I went through hypnotherapy, and I did not realize I got taken into that phase of relaxation, and she took me back to the age of 7. And I've got 4 siblings. I'm the youngest of my siblings. And I just started crying. I was howling at the age of 7. I'm a 38-year-old grown woman sitting here, and I just did not realize what my inner child was saying. And she said to me, "Well, where are you? Why are you sobbing?" I said, "Well, my mother loves my sister more than me." And I was so shocked because I've been brought up in a happy environment, and it's a happy childhood, stable family. But I myself did not think that this was actually sitting deep within inside of myself. So even as a healer, as a therapist, you can imagine the journey that clients are actually going through when they are going through this therapy.
Exactly. And when they are feeling certain aches and certain pain, sometimes they do not link it to certain traumas or negative energies or negative emotions that have been sitting in the body for a very long time till they become physical. And I remember when I used to step into your room back in 2018, and you were telling me you're so much in your head. You need to trust the flow and stop doubting things and stuff like that, which were difficult for someone who is going through that fear of being sick. But I remember you mentioning at that time that my hips were kind of stiff, and you had mentioned at that time as well, like, why don't you go and do some dancing and just to release the trauma. So can you explain more, especially to viewers who are interested in that approach, what is it about the hips that can store trauma?
So the hips are actually, on a physical level, your pelvic region. On a level of energy, it's a root chakra. So this is all about grounding. The pelvis in itself is the core stability around your stomach areas. It also affects your legs. It's the core of your stomach. It can cause stomach issues. It could cause insecurity on an emotional level. Things that we do in terms of stretching, dancing, any kind of exercise, we're trying to encourage that release to happen, so you feel a lot less rigid, and you start coming back into that area of being comfortable with your body.
I see.
The more comfortable you are with your body, yes, there's going to be insecurities popping up, but we're all about bringing you back into your body to actually help you refine yourself and become a better version of yourself, should I say.
That's amazing. In fact, when we even work together and I refer a client and you read the file of the client from an emotional perspective, from a life coaching perspective, and you read my notes, do you find it synchronized with your reading when you touch the body and you try to, assess the posture, the structure, and the energy, because you just mentioned chakras, and maybe for people who don't know what Reiki is, how would you explain Reiki in simple words?
So Reiki is movement. It helps you move energy blockages, and the therapist is actually channeling the energy through intuition by giving you this, how can I say, something that you can't clear yourself physically on a physical level, but they actually have an intention behind it to help you clear the blockages on an energetic level.
On an energetical level.
Yes, because the body in itself is a physical structure. So not one therapy is suited to one individual.
Exactly.
It depends what you've actually been carrying, because when clients are coming to me, I always say to them, I'm not treating you as you are now. What I'm actually treating is all the rubbish that you've carried over a number of years. So we did discuss that the body is actually been shifting over a period of time, and it does accumulate rubbish. So you imagine all the blockages that are actually sitting there. Yeah. People are not aware because the nervous system is actually on overdrive.
Exactly. So when we go back to the question of you receiving a file, and that file has some history of the client or the current situation of the client, how do you see that when it comes to the body and the energy? And how can you explain that connection? Or maybe we need to spread more awareness that the emotional reading always matches the physical reading. So can you explain it or give us an example of how it works?
So we've had a mutual client that we've worked on. And she had a lot of issues in terms of not being confident with herself. She was going through a tough time at home, family life. And I think she started with me first, and I was trying to coach her on a physical level. The more she started to understand where we were coming from, we gave her an explanation of her body. There was a lot in terms of what was stuck. She was stuck in one perspective. Once she understood she had choices, it was all about trying to empower her to make the choices. It wasn't necessarily you must do this or you must do that. It was creating that awareness within herself. And from there, she decided that the body was now shifting and she needed intervention in terms of coaching. So I believe she came to you and you actually took her through the next level of her journey.
Exactly. And I think I know what you're speaking about.
It's vice versa. It's you.
And it affected her posture and her scoliosis at that time.
Yes, it did. And we've actually kind of synchronized. It's not always going to be where talk therapy starts first. It could be body therapy, and we're always referring clients to each other. But the fact is, when you actually do the counseling and you're coaching and they come back, it does marry, it does fit in, because whatever you're saying in terms of the trauma that they're going through, we still go back on a body level to say, well, did you know this was being stored? And that links to the bit of what they've actually said to you and the issues that they're going through at the minute. So what we're trying to do is encourage them to reinvestigate things that could have brought this on.
Exactly.
And when they're actually in that comfort zone and self-awareness zone, it links together and they'll think, oh, yeah, I didn't realize that was actually stored in my body. I didn't realize it was linked to that. And many people find that once they've done this kind of work and they've shifted, it becomes easier for them to actually move to the next level.
Amazing. In fact, what we need to, emphasize on is the fact that a lot happens subconsciously.
Definitely.
We are not aware of what is going on in the back of the mind. I mean, even like this morning, I was hearing a podcast for Dr. Jody Spenza, and he was saying our thoughts can make us sick. And I would say bringing the awareness of understanding what is going on in the subconscious mind and what is going on in the back of the mind and shifting it can shift the body and can shift the posture and the structure. And it's a collaborative work. Like, I can't claim that I can help clients heal on my own. It's a work that has to deal with the body on a physical level, with the mind, and it has to come from a combined philosophy or approach to health. And how would you say that this philosophy of health, when it is a holistic approach to health, how do you spread that awareness to your clients? How do you teach them to be more aware of that connection and that approach?
So it's all to do, like you mentioned, with the thoughts. If the nervous system is active, like when you first came to me, it was like I did keep repeating to myself that you're in your head. But when you see a client, it's natural because everybody is looking for the answer. Why is this happening to me? Then they'll run to various places to try and fix themselves. But if that is on overdrive and we continue going into that nervous system and it's not relaxed and we don't break that loop, you'll find that the body is unable to heal because it's always in that constant state of tension. When it's in that constant state of tension, you have created this loop over and over again for so many years. You're going into a repetitive pattern. So holistic therapy helps you break that pattern. It's the start to you, actually the real you, relaxing and becoming self-aware of going back into your body.
That's beautiful. Going to the experience as well, speaking about the experience of being in your room with the choice of therapies that you offer. I mean, the first time I visited you, I was expecting to relax and, have that massage with some nice scent and all. And then I realized that it wasn't the experience I expected. And I started preparing the clients later on, like, you're going for work, like it's real work. So can you explain, please, more about how does your session go from the assessment, from the beginning to the modalities you use and what to expect when we are booking for a session with you?
When you're booking a session, I would say always be mindful that any healing modalities could also trigger a healing crisis. Guys, I know I'm starting off with a negative, but the negative is actually a positive because this is saying that the therapy is actually working. Now, if you go to an allopathic doctor, he will actually only treat you if you've got a gut issue. He will treat you for that gut. What we specialize in is treating the whole person as it is, because the gut might be stuck because of your nervous system and vice versa. So strained muscles, it's all coming from the brain. The brain in itself is actually controlling the rest of your body. It's like a computer. Great. So when you actually come for these therapies, from assessment, it's all about going through the feeling of what your body actually requires. So if you've got a structural issue in your spine and your spinal muscles are not straight, I might focus on dawn therapy to try and rebalance that. If it's initially, I might think that you need much more organ balancing, I will continue with reflexology to try and help you with that. To relax your nervous system, I might end up using Reiki as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a combination. The setup and the structure is not one therapy fits all, because I have different modalities. I utilize all these modalities in my therapy. The whole idea is also trying to coach you, teaching you breathing techniques, things that work for you, self-care, bringing you to that different level where you are thinking from a different perspective, where we as human beings only think from one perspective. But if you start then channeling your thoughts in a different manner, I believe we can lead a much more balanced life in a holistic way, where you're much more present in dealing with your responsibilities. A calm mind also helps you being present in your family life. Think about what's happening, the quality that you're missing. You may be sitting with your kids, but are you really sitting with your kids and giving them that quality time? Your head is somewhere else, but are you actually enjoying the time that you're spending with your kids?
Exactly. It all starts with being real and realizing that there is something that I need to deal with. And I would say many, many people do not know what would it be to have a balanced parasympathetic system. They have lived on overdrive for so long that it became their norm.
This is it. Because it becomes their norm, when they do come and they start feeling that relaxation. So initially, when I started off with massage therapy, I just felt it was only giving a temporary relaxation. So even looking at it from my own perspective, I wanted to give my clients something that is long lasting, not something that you needed to repeat over and over again. But in terms of cost, holistic therapies are more expensive, but in the long term, what you're actually getting out of it is actually you are creating an investment in yourself. Your quality of life is improving. The fact that you're present in your work, clarity in decision making, the capacity increases to do a lot more things in terms of enjoying yourself as well. So, I mean, how do you think the therapies work for you, Joelle?
This is a very interesting question, because while you're speaking, I'm realizing more and more that it is confirming the power of intention. Because when we bring to the awareness what is subconscious and we combine it with body work, like you're saying, it becomes much more powerful. Because I remember those times where you would be pressing at some point my hand or my underarms for my lymphatics, and you would tell me, release, take a deep breath, stay there, release. So first of all, the idea of being able to sit and recognize the pain and what is it telling you, and realizing that I have been carrying lots of anger, lots of frustration in my body, and asking the body with the intention of let every movement help me release it, I would feel that I would sink, and you would be able to go with your fingers even deeper on that point. And that used to amaze me, because I would say that if I can help you, that means any client who is aware of why they are there, not only to fix their structure, but to also release what is there, the results would be amazing. And this is what I have been experiencing with you all along. And this is why on and off every month I would pass by and say, check me out and tell me how do you feel. And I would just wait to confirm, because I would be doing great, but want to hear it on a body level reading. And sometimes when I know deep down I haven't been sleeping well or whatever, you would read it, and you were always on spot with that, which I loved. So I would say from a personal perspective, I have seen through your therapy a massive shift with my anxiety at that time. And as I was saying, it was a combination of things that we used all together. And this is why I decided to start this podcast, to be able to speak about what worked between homeopathy, between reflexology, between holistic physiotherapy as well, with releasing certain muscle tensions that I used to have in my neck or in the psoas or in wherever. And I started learning even more, and I started digging even more when I saw the results. So this is why today I'm more and more sure that we need to spread that awareness, that we need to be aware of what is going on in the body, dealing with it at the core level so that we can shift and heal. And this is why I keep, even in the first episode, I said what is different about PhiloLife is that I do believe that changing the way you look at life, you look at your health, you look at your body, is going to shift you into a better state of happiness and well-being. But I would like to know, Chandrika, at your personal level, have you tried these therapies? I'm still going round and round, and I want to know, have you sat on that bed?
Well, I do occasionally, because I think in order to give something to somebody, I tend to do the cheat sheet kind of way, and my cheat sheet is more to do with meditation. I guess I've got to that stage where I can relax the nervous system, but I've always been trying it. I can do my points with reflexology. The Mama points are quite interesting. This is something that I learned last year. So Mama therapy, for listeners, is the acupressure version that has actually developed from Ayurveda. So the journey always continues. It's a learning curve for me. I will press certain points. I would be looking at YouTube for things that are exercise based. There's a lot of things to do with your muscle. I think if people they've got this concept about going to the gym, and this is something that I'm not against gym, but if your muscles are actually wound up like a spring on the body and you're putting weight on these muscles, what do you think is happening, Joelle? They're actually being compressed. Yeah. So when I start my therapy, most of the time, if I find that the body is actually in a state of tension, I recommend stretching, because when the muscle is actually stretched through movement, it actually has a longer lasting ability to stay in that flexible position as opposed to being compressed. So guys, I'm not against gym. It's just smart awareness. Start off with stretching before you start putting the weights on.
Yeah, that's an amazing advice, I would say. Being myself, passionate about the gym, I've even heard you saying a couple of times you're overdoing it. Go for stretching, or go for a slower movement exercise or sport. So Chandrika, when we see the body shifting back again and again to the same issue or to the same pain, what is the body trying to tell us, and what does it mean at a core level?
So that could be because we have the intuition that when people are going through therapy, when clients are actually going through therapy, I can tell whether that body has shifted or regressed. And that is saying that we work hand in hand with the client. Maybe they're not breathing properly. Maybe they're stuck in a loop somewhere, that things that they've not acknowledged. We need to take them much more deeper. We need to ask them, are you doing anything different? How about looking at it from this perspective? Again, it could be a small shift in mindset. A shift in mindset can also help the body release.
Exactly. And this is why we sometimes do specific customized recordings, like self-hypnosis recording, to teach the body a new norm or a new level of relaxation. And then after 21 days of repeating that recording, we can start seeing that even your sessions are going deeper in terms of results. Definitely. Can you tell us a bit more about, do you remember any case where hypnotherapy has helped on a body level to process the pain or to shift the pain? Or
we've had certain mutual clients where they've actually been literally stuck at the physical level. Sometimes it's vice versa. Like we mentioned earlier, it was more to do with them not being able to maybe confront their emotions with the body. They're not ready to deal with a lot of the things, but yet they wanted that shift, in which case hypnotherapy has worked on that subconscious level to cause that shift, because it's a repeated loop that has actually accessed the nervous system to relax the body in a much more gentle way, in a gentle manner. And once that has actually happened, you see the physical body actually making the release as well.
That's the reading of the state of health and well-being. Yes. I would say, as if I would compare it to when we're losing weight and we hit a plateau. Like if we hit a plateau in a certain therapy or using certain modalities, whether it is physical or emotional, we know that we need to shift to the emotional level and dig further down, then go back to the physical. So it's a journey, it's an endless journey, but it's more about the awareness of reading the body than rather running and just popping a pill to let go or release something.
Yeah, in my therapy, what do I do different? We were told when we were studying the theory elements of our therapies, try and not bring your personal element of yourself within that therapy. So don't share your experiences and stuff with the client. No, I believe when we're getting real to heal, clients want to know that you're a human being at the end of the day. You've gone through something. You know, you're not there as somebody that's superior, that knows something more better than them. You are also a real individual that has gone through these real emotions. And When you can actually relate that to the client, I think there's much more of a meaning there, which will give them also that sense of security that, you know what, these people also go through these things and they can relate to us.
In fact, it's out of experience that we learn the most. And I would say again that my experience with anxiety and shifting myself out of anxiety, like, how do you see me today? I remember you used to say back in time, I was speaking faster and I was walking faster. We were discussing this a few weeks ago. And I was telling you that, yes, I'm really proud of the shift that has happened and the way I'm flowing with life and the way I'm raising my kids and the way I'm just like showing up for myself. So how long do you think we need to make that shift? Like in my case, it took me like a year nearly to do that shift, starting from realization to combining therapies, to understanding what worked for me, what did not work for me, to the place where I could just sleep without feeling that heaviness on my chest, without feeling the numbness on the left side, right side of my body, in fact. So how long does it take? Does it vary between people? Because, I mean, I think we need to explain that because it's not the same for everyone and for every individual.
It's definitely not the same for everybody. This is the whole reason why we do customization plans for people that are actually coming for our therapies. The emotional baggage, the experiences, the belief system, everything that we've been through varies from one person to another. The way we react to life is also varying. The levels of stress vary. So
genetic predisposition.
Yeah, life is forever changing. I always say, as mothers, we're both mothers, our role in life, to be a parent, to be a mother, do we learn it? No, we don't.
I wish there was a manual.
Well, there isn't a manual.
That would be amazing.
We actually adapt to these roles in life, right? And nobody's teaching us structure. So why the question is, we cannot adapt to life. What is the fear factor that is actually stopping us from naturally flowing with life and adapting to life?
Exactly.
These therapies will actually help you
flow,
yes. The whole idea of holistic therapy, again, is to bring you back into balance.
I agree.
If you start at one point, the journey always continues. There is never an ending because you will always find you seeing life as experiences rather than getting caught up in these experiences. So getting you to a place of enjoying and creating memories as opposed to just being in that memory and forgetting. It's very profound because you can't put a price on actually showing up for yourself.
Exactly. And I think when we choose to go for these therapies, when we choose healing, we need to always really unmask, remove the mask, whether it is on a conscious or subconscious level, and put our life on the table and take some distance and reflect and choose ourselves. It's very important to say, I choose myself to heal, to be a better person, whether it is for your kids, whether it is for a spouse, whether it is for a mother or a sister, but it's just showing up and wanting to be the best version of yourself. And it's an ongoing process. Does it end?
It never ends because you find when you're on this journey, you're always evolving and your capacity is increasing. The more your capacity is increasing, the way that you communicate with somebody else, you'll have old friends dropping off, you'll have new friends coming into your life. There is actually a shift. Things that you're attracting will be on a totally different level. Again, when you're talking about these emotional elements coming out, we had one client that came in and I was explaining right from the onset that, you're going to end up having to deal with emotions at some point. Oh, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to deal with my emotions.
Yeah.
And throughout the session, maybe into his third or fourth session, he was just on the couch sobbing. And this was not my intention to bring
these
a
emotions.
client, to this emotional state, but the body needed to release it.
Yeah,
yes.
amazing.
So for somebody who comes in and says, no, I don't even want to go there, the therapy in itself is actually bringing out the emotions. So guys, it's not us wanting to make you cry.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a process, please.
It's an openness to understanding that a release on a holistic level could be with some discomfort.
Yes.
Like after the session, sometimes I would feel for a day or two a bit of discomfort in certain areas of the body, or even after a session that I would feel that I need to reflect further on something. The healing journey is not linear, and this is something we need to understand. We can fall and pick ourselves up again, but once we are on that journey, we will pick ourselves up at a better level. So it will be faster, it will be quicker, because we're working on ourselves. So I think it's more of understanding that this is the philosophy we need to embed to come into this treatment with an openness of, okay, if emotions come out, that's part of the treatment. If a physical pain or discomfort comes out, again, it's a way of releasing. So I think it's very important to come with that mindset.
It's very difficult, you saying that, because again, initially when people have started on the journey of reflexology, while they're on the couch, they're listening to what I'm saying. And they're saying, yeah, we fully understand this, we fully understand that. It's actually in the first couple of sessions, because the mind is at that level of questioning, I tend to find people are still messaging me even after the session. Oh my God, this is happening to me. Oh my God, that is happening to me.
Yeah, they need to trust their body.
Yes. So again, it's the head playing games, because they're still in the state of, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? What do I need to do? Rather than say why, it's what do I need to learn? Don't forget, you've ignored your body for a very long time. So whatever's coming out or whatever your body is throwing out is rubbish. So why are we then creating anxiety to get caught up in what your body's throwing out? Again, you've gone back into a stress loop. And the whole idea is to break the stress loop. So with holistic therapy, there's also aftercare coaching that's also involved as well.
Yeah, agree. And I think we need to understand that pain is not an enemy. Pain is a mean of communication. And I think starting from there, and instead of battling the pain, understanding it, sitting with it and shifting it is the approach to a healthier.
This is going to be the new approach to health, because if we're talking about just a quick fix, taking a pill, anybody could do that. But I tend to find when we're talking about anxiety, doctors are now quite quick and ready to give you a pill and say, go away, this will help you with your anxiety. But if you think about realistically what's happening, this is numbing your brain to the pain. So when I've had people on who've been suffering from chronic anxiety and they've come to me, the sensation, they've lost all sensation of touch within their body, because the brain has been numbed for so long, and ignoring that pain is added to that level in the sense of it's shutting down.
It will resurface and it can backfire very aggressively.
Definitely, because then you're finding there's a lot of things that are suppressed there. The circulation system's not working properly. You're not breathing correctly. It's having a negative impact on your digestive system. It's all sorts, even the ability to function, because some anxiety tablets can also make you drowsy. So you being
some
naturally...
anxiety tablets cause depression. Some depression tablets cause anxiety. And you can read it. You can read it on the pamphlet of that medication.
Definitely. But if you actually start looking into where did this anxiety come from, it's a loop. It started from worry. It started from trauma, something that you don't want to deal with. Negativity. We have never been told how to deal with negative emotions. Either we're ignoring them, we're not accepting them. And it's about time we started thinking negative emotions, overcoming them is also positive.
True. So combining the reprogramming on a subconscious level with the release on a physical and emotional level, and balancing on an energy level, using homeopathy to promote this, using other modalities that would be suitable for a client, is the right way to approach distress or disease.
It is, because think about what's happening. Other people will use nutrition, diet as a mechanism.
And it is important, by
Yes.
the way. It's an important factor as well to add to.
It is. So you can't say that nutrition alone is a key factor for your body, because if you imagine your body it's like a piping system. If things are blocked inside there, the content that we're eating and breaking down is actually not being there, going into your body.
Absorbed properly.
Yes.
So this is why it is a combination. It is a lifestyle. It is a philosophy of living. It is a philosophy of health. It is embedding, being open to accepting that what we've been brainwashed to believe as well for years is not necessarily.
Yes, the brainwashing is
true.
The brainwashing is the quick fix method,
Exactly.
which people have been looking at. Everything is actually evolving now, and if things are evolving, I think we should be at that level of saying, well, hang on a minute, this doesn't suit my body, that doesn't suit my body. You're reaching out to say, I'm going organic in terms of my food. Yeah, you're going organic with your food, but
Where are you going with your emotions?
yeah, where are you going with your mind, body and soul in terms of trying to put this content of food into your body? Let's talk about how you're doing. I think most of the clients that come to me, they're also in that loop where they're breathing incorrectly, and the body needs food, water and oxygen. If they're not breathing correctly, again,
true.
You know, the
shallow breathing, very common.
The very basics of it, we can actually learn and do. People are saying, well, this breathing is complicated for me. It is complicated, but it's a skill. Like anything else, you're developing, you're learning, you're continuously learning things. So if you see correctly when you're breathing and see it as a skill as opposed to a chore, it becomes a lot more lighter. There's a pattern going round. You're suffering from insomnia. When you're suffering from insomnia, you've got poor sleep. When you've got poor sleep, you can't function. When you can't function, lots of things are going wrong. You're not making correct decisions. Life becomes overwhelming for you. So most people are in that stress loop. Holistic therapies help us calm and come out of this stress loop.
Chandrika, what are the tips or what are the practical tips that you are going to teach us today in order to shift an anxious mindset and make the person straight away calm down and feel more relaxed? I was so excited since the beginning to know what are you going to teach us.
Okay, so I'm going to share one point that helps you with anxiety. So if I could demonstrate it on you, Joelle.
Yes, that sounds good. Is it the hand?
It is the hand, yes.
Okay, I assume that I'm not going to put my leg on the thing.
So the center of the hand, if you take a deep breath in, okay, and when you breathe out, you just gently press down.
So it's the middle of the palm.
Middle of the palm, exactly. So, and then you just release.
Okay.
You want to try that again? Take a deep breath in. And release. There you go.
All right. So this is something simple that can be done anywhere.
That's simple. Your hands go with you. If you're suffering from anxiety, the breath has worked to calm you down. You've actually touched a pressure point to try and help you reset that level of anxiety that you get into.
I hope that whoever is watching has found this interesting and useful. Any takeaway that you want to emphasize on at the end of this episode?
Yes, the emphasis actually is on invest in yourself and become the better version of you.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I'm sure we would have you later on in other episodes with specific modalities to kind of like help with certain disease or certain ailment. So till we see you again, I would say thank you for whoever is watching today, and do follow us on our social media channels, post, comment, share if you think that the content is valuable. And I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. Without your support, this whole campaign of Let's Get Real to Heal would not be beneficial. So thank you for watching us, and see you in the next episode.